Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Say That with Vuitton Bond. For those who don't know, my name is Vuitton Bond. I'm a recording artist and a producer, and I use this podcast to entertain and educate you guys, talking about culture, talking about art, current events, music, video games, things of that nature, stories from my life, just to give you guys some content, man. This is episode number 28. This is the first episode of the summer, okay? We get into the summer season. First episode, let's make it hot. Episode 28, we're talking about Aunt Jemima. We're talking about Uncle Ben, Cream of Wheat guy, and all these other racist images that are being eliminated finally. But before we get into it, man, this talk is brought to you by www.VuittonBondmusic.com. Go to my site, get the Gold Bars mixtape just for signing up. It's fire. Also, I got a new single out called Plandemic. It's streaming everywhere. Apple, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Deezer, YouTube. Wherever you listen to music, it's there. And this talk is also brought to you by the listeners of Vuitton Bond, my favorite people. And y'all know what it is. It's real talk, no cap. You dig? So it's an exciting time that we're going through, man. Like, you're seeing all these images being torn down, things being eliminated. It's not history being destroyed. It's real, true history being acknowledged. The true stories are being told, finally. And because you see that the true stories are being told, action is being taken to rectify the issue. That is an incredibly important thing. Like all of these statues that are coming down, which I have a story about one in particular that happened right here in Raleigh, just to, kind of bring it on home. But I told you guys like 2 episodes ago when I was talking about why I don't use the N-word. Words are powerful. Words are very powerful. Words can basically affect your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind affects your thoughts, your belief systems, your actions, your feelings, all this stuff. But not only can words do that, but images can do that. When you see images over and over and over, it gets into your subconscious mind. I just hit the mic. I make a habit of that. Anyway, images affect your subconscious mind. So when you see an image like Aunt Jemima, which in the thumbnail, y'all can see the different images of Aunt Jemima over the years. When you see that, or when you see Uncle Ben, when you see the Cream of Wheat guy, when you see images of happy black servitude, when servitude is anything but happy, when subjugation is nothing to smile about, it really affects you. You put these images out there for 100 years, then you can affect generation upon generation upon generation of people. This is why it's a great thing that Aunt Jemima's finished. Mars should just go ahead and pull the trigger on Uncle Ben too, man. Go ahead and take him out to the back. 2 slugs to the back of the dome. Pop, pop. And then just go ahead and retire the Cream of Wheat man too. Because that guy was like super creepy to me. And Uncle Ben looks like Samuel L. Jackson's character from Django Unchained. Y'all know it. Y'all see it. Aunt Jemima's a mammy. We know what a mammy is. A mammy is basically a nanny, a maid. A lot of black women were doing that a long time ago, 40, 50, 60, 70 plus years ago. They were cleaning, cooking, being a confidant to the white wives in the household, nursing the children, playing with the children, teaching the children. Hattie McDowell played a nanny in Gone with the Wind, won an Oscar for it. Won an Oscar for being stereotypical black person. We get so excited about like when a black person wins an Oscar. And usually when a black person wins an Oscar, it's them doing something stereotypical. Doing something like negative. But that's your quintessential mammy. Also, you ever seen Tom and Jerry where they got the big fat black woman who smacks Tom with the broom? That's a mammy. same actress who played that character also played in Gone with the Wind. Not Gone with the Wind, I'm sorry. It's a Wonderful Life, one of my favorite Christmas movies. And she kind of was like a maid character in that. You know, you see her at the end, she's giving George Bailey the money, you know, and she says something that's like, it makes me cringe every time because it's like I'm like, oh man, this is so stereotypical, and the way she's saying it, she's so loud and country, is oh man, this is embarrassing. You dig, things like that. But you know, in certain black people, certain circles, and even in my household, truth be told, think Oprah's a mammy. You call Oprah a mammy. The parallel is there. She was in white women's household for like 30 years, doing everything that a mammy did, the way that she talked to these women, the way that she, you know, nurtured them and whatnot. But, you know, not trying to personally attack this woman. She did a lot of good too. You dig? So all these images, man, they getting out of here. They're getting out of here, which is a great thing. I mean, it's fantastic because the images are powerful. The images are so powerful, you know. And it's not just logos for companies, right? Because, you know, companies are making boatloads of money off of these images. And, you know, to call somebody an Aunt Jemima is actually an insult as well. It's a well-known insult. Call somebody an Aunt Jemima. Companies are making a lot of money off of these images that cause a lot of pain, embarrassment, things like that. But we know now, you know, we're seeing that the statues are coming down as well. This whole thing, it's not just about police brutality, it's a total reckoning of how certain people are treated in this country. You treat people, didn't I say many episodes ago, you can only treat people a certain way for so long until the guillotines come out. The guillotine is coming out right now. Things are being eliminated, they're being pruned away, they're being uprooted just like weeds. Now there's like certain energies that are influencing that at a really, really intense level. If you know, you know. I don't want to get into it right now because it's too deep, and I'm trying to keep this thing somewhat short. But I could get into it later on. But the statues are coming up, and one in particular here in Raleigh on Juneteenth, a couple days ago. There was I think they brought one down and they hung it. They put a rope around its neck and they hung it from the Hargett Street sign downtown. It was incredibly satisfying to see. But there was another one in particular that I read about this week. Basically, it was the statue of Josephus Daniels, who was not a Confederate. A lot of Confederate statues are coming down, but just white supremacists in general are being taken down, which is great. It's fantastic. This guy, Josephus Daniels, or Josephus, I think it's Josephus, lived a long time ago. He was a white supremacist who was the head of the Raleigh News and Observer, which that's our paper here, right? It's like the New York Times or the LA Times or the Times-Picayune in New Orleans or something like that, you know. Just a big paper here. Well, this guy, you know, he ran the paper and he led an insurrection on Wilmington, North Carolina, back in like 1898 or something like that. It was the late 1890s. This man used imagery. Going back to it, he went back to using imagery in the newspaper. He championed white supremacy in news reports, different provocative letters and vicious front page cartoons that called attention to what the paper called the horrors of Negro rule. This is what he did. He was highly influential. I'm reading this off of Wikipedia. Highly influential person. There was a lot of black people who was making money in Wilmington. They had businesses and they had power because they were in office. It was like a black mayor. It was a black newspaper because the media is very important. We know this. We know how important the media is, right? Black newspaper. This guy was a supporter of the Klan, but this is what he did. He basically led like a bunch of white men into Wilmington, North Carolina, and they ransacked the joint. They set everything ablaze. They burnt the motherfucker down. They killed anywhere from 60 to 300 people, and they took over the city. They took over Wilmington. This guy ended up becoming a supporter of Woodrow Wilson. You know, Woodrow Wilson, he was a president that was all about segregation. He liked to make his darky jokes. He was racist. It's kind of like if a motherfucker came out and supported Donald Trump right now. You know, it's the same type of energy, right? But this guy, his family came out and said, hey, you know, we gonna go ahead and we'll go ahead and take his statue down. It was in downtown Raleigh. I think it was like right outside of the News and Observer's office, but they went ahead and said, yo, we gonna get rid of this guy's statue. Y'all protesters, y'all ain't gotta do it. We'll do it. You know, we'll take it, you dig? And we'll take it back home to Tennessee. Now, why did they do it? Did they do it because they're down with the cause? Did they do it because they didn't want their great grandfather getting spray painted and hung from the Hargett Street sign? Who knows? But either way, change is a coming. It's a beautiful thing. It's great to see. You know, the movies have been closed for a long time. They're opening up soon, but we've not had any movies. But this right here, this is just about as good as any movie right now. I'm sitting back and I'm eating popcorn when I look at different news pieces and stuff. It's really cool. It's really cool to see America reckoning with its past, you know, because the past is insane. Like I said, that whole story I just told you all about Wilmington in North Carolina, they don't teach us that in school. I found that out a week and a half ago. 2 weeks ago, I found out about that. I had no idea that whole Wilmington massacre was a thing. That's a big thing that happened in the Reconstruction South. That had like ramifications that extended for a long time, and they did not teach us that in school. They did not teach us that when they taught us North Carolina history or when they taught us U.S. history. I had no idea, right? That's crazy. A lot of the shit that they teach us in school, it's a lie. It's based on illusions, half-truths. They omit details. They change things up. They bury things. They hide things under the rug. You dig? You know? But that's what's going on right now. They're taking the veil off and they're showing you the underbelly. Because you can't just have these statues up and somebody not come along and tell the real story. The real story's out there. And because these statues are being pulled up, the real stories are being pulled up. And the real stories are the stories that we need to hear. We need to see. They need to be brought out to the light. That's the only way to heal. When you bring shit out to the light, that's how you heal. That's how you let things go. It's that simple. So it's an exciting time, man. A lot of different energies are cycling around, you dig? And I mean, things are changing, man. Things are changing, and it's interesting to watch. So we're going to keep watching. But what I want for everybody who's listening, man, I want y'all to stay safe, especially if you live in the U.S. I know I got a lot of people who don't live in the U.S. Shout out to Canada, shout out to the UK, shout out to New Zealand, you know, Australia, all those countries. You dig? Shout out to y'all. But if you're in America, man, for sure, stay safe. You know, I got love for y'all, man. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. I want to start a conversation, so holla at me. And if you're on Apple, Google, or Spotify podcasts, leave a review and I'll shout you out. You know, if you're on YouTube, man, shout me out as well. All right, with that being said, I'll see y'all next week. Say that.